It's me again, Chef Maria Joy, also known as Emmy Joy, and this is Plate to Palate. Today, we're doing brunch. And of course, you must have champagne if you're gonna have brunch. So we are going to be making a chimichurri omelette with some nice deli turkey in it and some other vegetables with that. I'm also going to be making pain Perdue. It is actually a French toast. So pain Perdue, a nice chimichurri omelet, and we are also going to be making gazpacho. What is that? It's cold soup. So let's dive in. So when you're prepping your stuff, you're gonna throw it right into your Vitamix or whatever, your blender. So I'm gonna start off by cutting up the bell pepper. I'm just gonna cut right into it so that way, because you wanna go ahead and get those seeds out of there. So I just went ahead and I cut it in half. The tip of it usually does not have any seeds. When it comes to this, you don't need to do any fancy cuts, because all you're gonna do is you're gonna throw it into your blender. All right, let's do our tomato. So I'm actually gonna be doing a mix of just regular tomatoes, and I'm gonna do Roma tomatoes. I wanna point out this, you can eat this. It is a little bit tough, but you could still eat it. It's not that bad, especially if, it gets broken down. I don't do it all the way towards the top, so, just look at it, and I'm telling you, it's perfectly fine. Again, you don't need to do any fancy chef moves with your cutting. You want to also go ahead and reserve a little bit of the tomato seeds, because you are going to use that to make your cute little garnish. So you don't need a ton. Well, I guess it really depends on how many people you're feeding, so I won't say you don't need a ton. So get as much as you can, but also remember, it's just a garnish. You really want all of everything inside of your blender, so that way it blends very nicely. So next we're gonna move on to the cucumber. Cheers, honey. All right, now we're gonna cut up our cucumber. Same thing, you don't need to get fancy with it. Just cut that bad boy up. You want to make sure that you do reserve a little bit of it, because you are also going to use that as a garnish to go along with your cute little tomato seeds. So just go ahead, give it a couple chops. I think that should be plenty enough. And I'm gonna cut these in half, just because. And let's get that in the blender. All right, let's get into our onion. This is a big onion. This is a sweet yellow onion. There's a lot of people out there that probably don't realize that there's more than just a red onion and an onion, regular white onion. There is actually a white onion, a yellow onion, a sweet yellow onion. Then you have your shallots, which fall in the same category as an onion, but I'm just trying to make a point. So you want to go ahead, get your skin off. Nothing fancy, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it down the center. Make some nice big chunks. I don't want to put a ton in there, because I don't want it to just taste like onion. So be mindful of how much you're putting in, whether it's the cucumber, the onion. I really want the tomato to come out in this soup. So that's why I put a ton of tomato. I will say that looks pretty good, but we'll do a little more. Okay, let's get this thing blended up. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna blend up all of our goodies. tomato, cucumber, onion. Now that all of your vegetables are blended up, you see the texture of it. So I personally, even though a gazpacho recipe does not call for it, I'm going to boil this so that way it breaks down even more and it's more of a nice smooth texture. I'm trying to achieve the texture of a nice tomato soup. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let me get some stuff in here. So I'm adding a little bit of lemon juice because it's just going to add to the flavor. Acid, just remember that. Some cracked black pepper. And I'm using regular table salt. Put some of that in. So you don't want to over season it because once it starts boiling, you know, once the vegetables start to break down, overheat, it pulls out so much more from the vegetables. So you end up getting some more sweetness, some more sourness. You get a bunch of different flavors that start to pull from your vegetables once they're warming up. So let's get this on the pot. In the pot. Soup is boiling, so while the soup is boiling, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do this. I'd like to bring up, when it comes to brunch, think outside the box, people. Like, come on, shrimp and grits every single time? Like, I have so many followers or people that I follow, and I probably see 10, if not more, shrimp and grits, and they think it's a different version of shrimp and grits, but it all looks the same. Think outside the box. Research. Stop with the bread pudding. Who cares about some old baked sugar bread with milk in it? Like, come on. Think outside the box. When it comes to brunch, you got to remember, it's like brunch is before the afternoon is happening. It's your start out. You're gonna go into the afternoon on a good vibe, you know? You're sitting, you're hanging with your family, your girlfriends. Come on now. Speaking of that, shout out to my girls. Make something creative. Stop sticking to this basic stuff. So, when it comes to this chimichurri omelet, I'm not gonna make the chimichurri and pour it over it. That's the switch up here. The omelet is gonna be filled with some deli lunch meat that I just went ahead and cut up. I'm gonna make a nice fresh chimichurri. I'm going to put some tomato slices inside also with the deli turkey, but I'm going to be blending the chimichurri with the actual egg. And that is your chimichurri. That is your chimichurri omelet. First, we're gonna start off by making our wonderful chimichurri. So, for those of you that do not know what a chimichurri is the best thing since heated seats in your car, honey. Like, I put those at the same. They're on the same level. So chimichurri is just a bunch of herbs. You blend it up. You throw in some seasoning. You use your grapeseed oil or your olive oil. Again, I use grapeseed oil for everything. I can make dressings with it. I can fry with it because when you're using grapeseed oil, it's not like olive oil where it begins to burn out all of the healthy elements of it. That's what a lot of people don't know. When you're cooking with olive oil, yeah, it might still taste good, but you just dang there burned everything out of it. So it's eliminating its purpose outside of it tasting good. You just eliminated the healthy parts of it. So I use grapeseed oil for basically every single thing that I do. If I'm gonna go and deep fry the hell out of something, I will use vegetable oil, but that's just me. That's what I grew up on because grapeseed oil is also pretty expensive. So, okay, let's get into it. So you don't need to do anything crazy. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this in here so we can get it blended. So it's a combination of cilantro and some parsley. And I'm just gonna chop that up. You can either put that in, don't put it in. I'm not gonna put that part in, but there is a good portion of that that's going in. So get that. in your little blender. And then I'm gonna do a shallot, as I like to call it. So a shallot is basically like an onion. It's definitely a different flavor than your regular onion, but it's perfect when it comes to this because you don't want that onion with its overpowering flavor to mess up tasting all of the fresh herbs that you're using. Some people make their chimichurris different. This is how I make mine. It's shallots, and I'm not gonna do anything more with that because I'm gonna put it into this blender. So I do shallots, my grapeseed oil, and you want to get a good amount in there because it's not gonna blend it up like you think if you don't. So get that in there. I'm using just regular table salt. Don't put too much because you're gonna blend it and then you're gonna come back and you're gonna taste it. You do want some lemon juice. And you can make your chimichurri however you like. I'm gonna add some red pepper flakes. Some people don't like red pepper flakes. It gives it a little extra kick. But again, you could switch it up. If you've also ever heard of charmula, that's similar to a chimichurri. There's literally like probably one or two things different that you do with it. Very, very similar, serves the exact same purpose of deliciousness at the end of the day. Here's some paprika. I'm just going with regular paprika for this. You can use smoked paprika. You can use all kinds of stuff in this. You can put in some oregano, you could put in some basil. Just when you're making something like this, think about what it is that you're pairing with it. So let's say you're gonna cook a nice big salmon. Okay, I want to have some mint because I'm gonna have this little sauce on the side, you know, whatever it is. Pair it to that. So you can add all kinds of fresh stuff. So last, I'm gonna put my cracked black pepper and we are going to get to blending, honey. All right, everything is in here, ready to go. So you got your cilantro, you've got your fresh parsley, you got your shallots, and all of your seasoning. And we're just gonna give this a blend. Another thing when it comes to chimichurri, I see very different variations of it. I've even made completely different ones. For instance, my mom's, hers is a lot light greener than when I make mine. Mine looks like a lot of herby. My mom's almost looks like a pesto sauce. There's such a difference. So it really, again, it's what you put in it. And y'all are gonna get annoyed with it. Make it your own. That's, you know, how it becomes different variations of something like this when it comes to a chimichurri. All right, let's get this blended. So here is your finished chimichurri. Look at all that. You can see the herbs and the seasoning, like, oh my goodness, all of those little red specks get me excited. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get our eggs cracked because now we are mixing up the actual omelet. Like I had said, this is a chimichurri omelet and we're mixing it together. For me, a 2-egg omelet is plenty enough. You can obviously eat a lot more if you're over 5'2", 115 pounds like myself, and make it into a 4-egg omelet. But just remember when you're pouring your chimichurri in there, you need to also consider that, you know, when it comes to the amount of eggs. So I don't want this to completely turn green. I just want to have some in the mix because I am going to pour some more chimichurri over the top. So we're gonna go ahead and mix that up. As my sister calls it, green eggs and ham. So here you go. Green eggs. We ain't making ham, but we do have some deli lunch meat. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna set that to the side. We're gonna cut our tomato because I'm going to be putting tomato slices in with the deli turkey. So you just want to have everything ready because once that egg starts to cook, it's cooking. So just some thin slices, very simple. We're gonna put that into the omelet. Okay, let's get this in the pan. Okay, so I let this boil down because it completely transformed the texture, if you see that. So I'm gonna blend it one more time before I actually put it in the refrigerator to chill. So here's your blended gazpacho. So now you see the difference in the texture. It should be seasoned perfectly, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give it a taste. You know how they say, when the food is good, you gonna dance with it, honey. You gonna dance. That is perfect. Now let's go ahead and get this in the fridge so we can chill. So you wanna let it chill for about an hour to 2 hours. It depends on your fridge again. Okay, let's get this going. Next, we're gonna go ahead and prep to make our pain Perdue. I could possibly be saying it wrong. Maybe it's just pan Perdue, but this is an actual French toast. My son and I like to do what we call the Southern tour. So during my research, like I always tell you guys to do, research, different foods from different states, different countries. So on our Southern tour, we're doing, New Orleans, and I found pain Perdue. So you're actually using a real piece of French toast instead of your basic little wheat bread or white bread, whatever Texas toast that people use to make French toast. And then we're going to also have some fresh fruit that we're gonna pair with it, and it's gonna be nice and Frenchy. Oui, oui. Let's cut up our French roll. It's really up to you how thick you want it to be. So it does absorb the egg and everything like a lot more than your regular bread. So just keep that in mind when it comes to how thick you want it to be. So I'm gonna go with that thickness. I feel like that's pretty good. So let's do a few of those. And let's get our eggs, keep going. And let's get our egg mixture going. Now we're gonna cook our hot brunch items at the same time. So that way you bring them all out, everything is hot. So we're gonna start with the French toast. So here's our mixture. Our butter is nice and ready to go. So you're gonna wanna soak that good stuff up. Give it a good flip. Also, get it on the sides. Into your pan. Pan Perdue, if that's how you call it. Okay. So go ahead and get that all in the pan, and then we're gonna move on to our omelet because you also want that to be nice and hot before you bring it out to your guests. Okay, let's get our omelet started so that way it comes out at the same time that the French toast, because omelets cook really fast. So, I've already got my butter in there. Butter, please be good to me. So, all of that in there. So this is going to be a 2-egg omelet. I'm gonna wait and let that start to thicken up. So for anybody that has never made an omelet before, you actually want to pull the sides. That's how you make your omelet. And then you roll it around again, pull it in. That's how you get that nice thickness, and it has like a texture to it almost. I want to say like a nice little lumpy kind of thing going on. So we're gonna do that. Get your tomatoes in there. Get some cheese, or no cheese, really up to you. Some people don't like cheese. I like my stuff cheesy. Okay, and your lunch meat. So when it comes to an omelet, obviously you could put bacon in there. You could put some ground breakfast sausage. Make it your own. So we're doing the deli turkey lunch meat. So we're going to get that in there. I'm not going to season anything because you have to remember I already seasoned the chimichurri. So now let's go ahead. You want to also make sure that you're using a really good non-stick pan when it comes to your omelets. I'm going to let it keep going a little longer before I attempt to do this, because all it takes is one bad move and your omelet is obliterated. Okay, so the omelet is looking safe for me to go ahead, flat that. Ooh, honey. So this is what I'm talking about. When you're pulling the egg mixture in to make your omelet, this is what I'm talking about. You see these grooves? That is what you are creating when you are making your omelet. So now you just want to let it cook a little bit, like less than 2 minutes, I would say, on each side. Or what you do is you check in there and you want to make sure it's not ooey gooey. Some people like it ooey gooey where the egg is not completely cooked. But you see all of that? The cheese is melting. You've got your lunch meat. You've got your tomato. On point, baby. So cook just a little bit longer on each side. Flip it, and you're ready to go. Now it's time to do the finishing touches on our omelet, our pain perdu, and our gazpacho. So I'm going to start it off by sprinkling some cheese on there while it's still nice and hot. We're going to go ahead and put some avocado slices. So just cut your avocado in half. You can even make small slices. You can put guacamole on it. Do what it do. So I'm going to go ahead, put some avocado on there. Alright, so after you put your cheese and your avocado, you're going to go ahead and add a little bit more of that chimichurri that you made, just to give it a little extra so once you're cutting into it. Or if maybe you made some side potatoes or something, you could go ahead and you can dip it into that extra chimichurri sauce. Okay, I'm gonna hit it with literally just a little bit of cracked black pepper and some table salt. Because again, you already seasoned your chimichurri, so don't get crazy. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get our gazpacho together. So you just want some thin slices. You don't need anything chunky because this is supposed to be a nice, smooth, refreshing soup, which is why it's a cold soup. I like to stack it up, cut it in half, cut it in half, and you can either cut it in half again or not, but I'm going to leave it at this size, if you could see that. So go ahead, drop your cucumber. So we put our cucumber in there. I'm also going to add some avocado pieces to that. So get your little pit out. Once again, slicey, slicey, dicey, dicey, nice and nicey. Remember when I said, save a little bit of the tomato seeds? There it is. Boom. Yes. Again, a little bit of cracked black pepper, a little bit of salt, and now we're going to finish our pain Perdue. I'm going to use honey. If you see, it's already soaking in honey, which is just adding to all of that really, really good flavor. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more brown sugar because I'm using honey. If you use syrup is a lot sweeter. So I don't know that I would necessarily recommend that you add more of the brown sugar if you're going to use syrup, and a little bit more cinnamon. And then my honey. Look at that. Oh my goodness. With the fresh fruit, just a very beautiful combination. Look at that. Just look at that plate. Dang it, look at it. And let's also remember, when you're serving people, especially something like brunch, like I said, your mother-in-law's there and you want to impress her and all that good stuff, you don't want to be sloppy. Wipe your dishes. Do not have stuff folding over off the sides. This is going to be your, so as an example, this is your serving bowl. You're going to put this on the table and everybody's going to take from that, unless you're going to go ahead and already set it up individually. But even if you do, all it takes is a quick second. Wipe around the edges. Wipe around. That's all you have to do. Okay, my beautiful cooks, brunch is done. We've got our chimichurri omelet. I put some avocado on there. I added a little bit of cheese and some extra chimichurri, just in case, like I said, if you have a side breakfast potato. The only reason why I didn't do a breakfast potato is because we've got these beauties. This is our pain Perdue. This is a French toast from New Orleans. It's a southern dish. And I put some fresh fruit. You've got some honey on there, some brown sugar, some cinnamon. And then we have our gazpacho. I put some cucumber and some diced avocado, and then the tomato seeds that we had saved. So now I'm going to talk about, where'd your hair go? Well, no, I didn't cut off my hair. It was a wig. I live with 4 autoimmune disorders. So for a lot of my new followers, they don't know, and so they see all of these different pictures. I have hair, then I don't have hair. Some of these are old memories, and they pop up and I share it. So I do have hair. It's just when my lupus is flaring up, which is caused by stress, my hair will fall out on my head. It'll fall out on my eyebrows. Somehow it doesn't fall out on my legs, though, so still gotta shave that. But it does fall out, and once my lupus flare starts to calm down, my hair comes back. My lupus not only attacks my hair, but it also attacks my skin. So if you notice, on my hands, I have discoloration from my lupus flare. So the pigmentation will go away, and then it comes back. And the interesting thing is, on the scalp, you'll lose your pigmentation, and when the pigmentation starts to return, that's when your hair starts to return. So no, I didn't cut off beautiful long lengths of hair, just in case if you guys were wondering. But yes, if you want to follow, I do have a lupus page. It is beautiful_lupus_butterfly. That is my Facebook for my lupus followers. They are beautiful, amazing women. When it comes to being an advocate and being somebody that lives with this disease, for these women, even men, to send me a DM and just thanking me for sharing what I go through. Hey, we have to be transparent, because you want to know what? You gotta love yourself at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. And that rhymed. And with that, I'm about to take it out. So,